Coming up on today's show, it's a light news week, so yippee-ki-yay, mother. I don't know if I'm going to use that or not.
I like the finger guns. Going for it.
What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast. Your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every Friday. I'm one of your hosts, Andrea Renee, joined by Miss Christine Steimer.
Hello. I'm missing my echo.
I know. Miss Brittany Brombacher is not here because she is on maternity leave, but I'll do a hello in honor of Britt.
Aww.
But we are excited to be here this week. We have some fun video games to talk about. I went to not one, but two preview events.
Technically, you didn't go anywhere.
Well, listen, you don't need to point that out, Steimer.
I just want people to know you're not out here
virtually.
running around.
No. Yes, safety first, of course. So
I am now fully vaccinated at this point.
Me too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, out of the waiting period.
Yep.
Whoop, whoop. It's very exciting times. Hopefully, when our hiatus is over, we look forward to hosting some developers and friends of the show back in the studio. The whole reason we built this thing in the first place. So we're looking forward to that. But hopefully you guys are vaccinated as well. And if you are not and you live in the United States, you have no excuses. Go get your vaccine. It's open to everybody age 12 and up right now, which is phenomenal. And if you don't live in the United States, hopefully your country will have a vaccination plan in place for you soon. So let's talk about some video games, shall we?
We shall.
Thank you so much to this month's Patreon producers, Tyler Adams, ProgramAlice, Chewy's Godson, Excess Oddities, Justin Foshee, Punkdefied, Rob Lehnert, Faris Attieh, Marcus Ian Brown, Alex Rigopulos, and Trevor Starkey. And welcome to our Patreon community, Kaylee Johnson. So don't forget, you guys can get the show ad-free on patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. You can also take advantage of some of our other membership benefits for the month of May, because don't forget, we're also putting the Patreon on pause during our hiatus. You have to do literally nothing. All you have to do is just keep supporting What's Good Games, and we will make sure you do not get charged. And also, thank you to our new podcast reviewers. We've got Kenny Hamilton, JW25, and Zoe Smash. This is a wonderful way, if you don't have a couple bucks to throw away on Patreon, to still support the show with a few minutes of your time by leaving us a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. It really helps us out and also gives us the warm and fuzzies when we read them every month. You guys have said some really lovely things and some funny things as well. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the news, Steimer.
Yeah. The game that never dies.
I'm like, spoilers, it's a light news week. You know how it is when we're talking about GTA 5 for the 100th time probably on this show. GTA 5, though, coming to new consoles, finally. So this update is directly from Rockstar Games. We knew from the PlayStation State of Play last summer that GTA 5 was coming to PS5, but now we have a release date, everybody.
Ooh.
The expanded and enhanced versions of Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online are arriving on PlayStation 5 and, of course, Xbox Series X and S, with new features and more on November 11th, 2021. As an added bonus, this summer's update to GTA Online will include special benefits for players to take advantage of in these expanded and enhanced versions when they drop. Plus, in honor of the upcoming 20th anniversary of GTA 3,
Ooh.
if that doesn't make you feel old, I don't know what will.
A lot of things. Don't worry about it.
It's, GTA 3, man. That is a deep cut. In honor of the 20th anniversary, they'll have even more fun surprises to share, including some specifically for GTA Online players.
Look at that yoga. Look at that prowess. It's so beautiful.
Now in 4K. With the standalone version of GTA Online available for players on both platforms, the new standalone version of GTA Online will be free to PS5 players during the first 3 months. And PlayStation Plus members on PlayStation 4, make sure to claim your GTA $1 million by visiting the PlayStation Store at the start of each month and every month until the launch of GTA Online on PlayStation 5. So that's like a nice little boost for PlayStation players. If you guys are still playing GTA, you can get some free money if you're a Plus subscriber. To help gear up for the online summer update for GTA, new 8 new stunt races are right around the corner, coming to the GTA Online Stunt Series on May 27th. The new tracks will introduce an array of white-knuckle thrills for stunt racers and an assortment of vehicle classes.
Yeah.
And then shortly thereafter, the futuristic Deadline mode will get 7 new arenas in which to obliterate opponents with their Shotaro Bike's explosive light trail. If eradicating waves of armed resistance is more your appetite, survival mode will also expand to new locations throughout Los Santos and Blaine County.
Los Santos.
Yeah, I haven't played GTA in a hot minute.
It made me just think, like, watching that trailer just made me very nostalgic for when I played this game. And now I'm just sitting there thinking, like, when we're getting another one, because watching the trailer back, I was like, I remember when I thought, like, graphics could not get better than this. This is the peak of video game graphics. And now I'm like, look, it obviously doesn't look bad, but I'm like, oh yeah, no, I can see that it's aged a bit.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of funny how your perspective changes over time.
Yeah. And I think also, in addition to your perspective, I think we as gamers we continually move the benchmark, and what we're willing to accept for graphics always continues to change too, which, you know, is for better or for worse.
We are a picky bunch.
We are. Our standards are high. I do want to also mention that Rockstar announced that next week Red Dead Online players will get 8 new races featuring iconic locations from 5 states amid the arid frontier outposts of Gaptooth Breach to the mining town of Annesburg and the swamps of Lagras. Show off your proficiency on horseback in the forms of all equine competition with the new standard races along with new open races, where it's up to you to determine the best path to ride through all the signal fires on a given course. They have other updates coming to Red Dead Online for players. Still no word on what's going on with Red Dead getting their official PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X/S update. Obviously, GTA is the priority for Rockstar, as it should be. It's their #1 franchise.
Their bread and butter at this point, the only thing they've made for the past 10 years.
Did you know that there's been over 100 million copies of GTA 5 sold?
I think so, because I'm pretty sure we talked about it on the show.
I knew there was over 65 million. That number always stands out to me as one of the stories that we did. But I recently was talking about GTA on Twitch Gaming when I was on the weekly last week, and because we were talking about games that we would like to see nominated in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And the video game Hall of Fame, that is. And
Just the regular.
I just did not realize that it had ballooned that much. I mean, obviously I know GTA Online is alive and kicking and making tons of money
you want
for
some GTA,
Rockstar.
that's the one GTA you got.
Yeah.
Fucking take it or leave it.
Exactly. I mean, it's time. It's time for GTA 6.
I know. Please.
Or something new from Rockstar. I'm down for a new IP.
That's true. They do good work.
Yeah,
So.
they do. They make great games. All right. Our next story is all about Call of Duty
Get those
Warzone.
finger guns out.
Yes. I mean, I did have to do the John McClane yippee-ki-yay in the intro there. I may or may not have edited into the show, so we'll see. But what's kind of fun about this next story is that I obviously am a child of the 80s. Steimer is a child of the 80s as well.
Yes.
I grew up with, Rambo and Die Hard movies, so I was pretty excited when this
I
announcement
actually had
happened.
not seen a Die Hard until my 20s.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I guess they're technically like R-rated.
Yeah,
movies,
I'm like they were,
so.
but when they were released, I was a kid, so my parents were like, no.
Oh, see, my dad, of course, bachelor dad, because my parents got divorced when I was 1, and so when he would have us on the weekends, he'd let us watch all the stuff that Mom wouldn't let us watch.
Ooh, here's some Rambo kids. I don't think I still have not seen Rambo.
Oh, okay, we have to do it. We have to watch it. It's so good. Okay, so the story, everybody, is that 80s action heroes are coming to Call of Duty Warzone. John McClane and Rambo are 2 of these 80s action heroes joining Warzone and Black Ops Cold War multiplayer, as well as Call of Duty Mobile, as part of the mid-season update. Both characters will be available across all 3 current active duty active Call of Duty games, I should say, starting on May 19th. And the 2 will be available for Call of Duty Mobile on May 20th. So John McClane will be available in the Die Hard bundle, which goes live in both Black Ops Cold War and Warzone, again starting May 18th. It includes the McClane Operator, a finishing move, 3 weapon blueprints, and a legendary calling card and emblem. You know, all the good stuff that Warzone players and Call of Duty players love to buy. And then Rambo is going to be available during the same time in his own bundle with his own finishing moves, signature bow and arrow, and the weapon blueprints, etc., etc. If you guys want to take a look at all of these items in detail, of course, callofduty.com is the best place to do that. But beyond just the 2 playable characters, now this part I was really excited about. Nakatomi Plaza from Die Hard and the survival camps and CIA outposts from Rambo are going to be added to the Verdansk map for a limited time.
That's fun.
Yeah, so like the idea that they're doing Nakatomi Plaza in the game is pretty cool. I hope that they bring it back around Christmas time.
Oh, yeah, because it's a Christmas movie.
It is, and I will hear nothing otherwise, internet, about Die Hard not being a Christmas movie. It is, but I mean, of course, you know, we could do a Christmas in July thing too, or whatever. I don't know how long the season is lasting for. But obviously these are limited time bundles, so if you guys are interested, you know, you might want to log in and get those on your account. Plus, in addition, in Black Ops Cold War, a couple of classic modes are getting a Die Hard and Rambo twist. First is Die Hardpoint. I see what you did there, Activision. I see what you did.
Try harder.
A race to gain 200 points, first by eliminating enemies and capturing hard points. And in week 2, there's Rambo's Gun Game, a free-for-all mode where players need to earn at least 1 kill with 20 different weapons.
In what amount of time?
I don't know, but that's
intense.
impressive.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
It sounds like streaming heaven for people, quite honestly.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, all of this.
Might have to do some streaming with those if I'm feeling up for it, y'all. And on a side note, there was another story that Activision has announced that they've banned 500,000. Wait, scratch that. Yeah, no, that's right. 500,000 Warzone players. 500,000 assholes have been banned from Warzone.
That's good.
Yes.
I'm sure there's still plenty more they could ban.
Without a doubt, there's definitely more work to be done. But I'm glad that Activision is taking the safety of their online community seriously, not just from like bots and aim assists and all the terrible stuff that comes along, mostly with PC players, but of course with, you know, their rigorous community moderation as well. They've come out and made a couple of statements over the last couple of months, just re-amplifying their statement to try to make Call of Duty a safer place for people to play online and not have toxicity, which I appreciate that they are.
Took them a while.
Taken. Yes, it most certainly did. And there's obviously no preventing assholes from getting into online games of all kinds. There's still a lot of jerks that play in Call of Duty games and have really shitty things to say. But I think that them taking a more vocal stance and saying, hey, we're going to be a lot more aggressive with banning players is a good thing for the health of their community. And obviously it's not hurting them at all.
Yep.
Get rid of all the bad eggs.
Yep.
All right. So those are our first couple of news stories to kick things off. I do have just a few more. But before we get to that, I want to let you know that this episode of What's Good Games is brought to you by ExpressVPN. A few decades ago, private citizens used to be largely that, private. So what's changed? Well, the internet, everybody. Think about everything that you've browsed, searched for, watched, or tweeted, and now imagine all of that data being crawled through, collected, and aggregated by third parties into a permanent public record. Your record. Having your private life exposed for others to see was once something only celebrities worried about. But in an era where everyone is online, everyone can be a public figure. So to keep our data private when we go online, we turn to ExpressVPN. Did you know that there are hundreds of data brokers out there whose sole business is to buy and sell your data? The worst part is they don't have to tell you who they're selling it to or even get your consent. How rude. And one of these data points is your IP address. Data harvesters use your IP to uniquely identify you and your location. But with ExpressVPN, your connection gets rerouted through an encrypted server and your IP address is masked. Every time that I turn on my ExpressVPN, I'm given a random IP address shared by other ExpressVPN customers. And that makes it more difficult for third parties to identify me and harvest my data. And the best part is how easy ExpressVPN is to use. No matter what device you're on, your phone, your laptop, or even your smart TV, all you have to do is tap one button to get protected. So, if you're like me and you believe that your data is your business, last week you may remember I talked about pillowcase covers, and then I realized I was being redundant by calling it a case cover when really it's just pillowcases or pillow covers. But I digress. That's an argument for another time. You can secure yourself with the #1 rated VPN on the market. Visit expressvpn.com/whatsgoodgames and get 3 extra months for free. That's expressvpn.com/whatsgoodgames, and you can keep your searches private. Go to expressvpn.com/whatsgoodgames to learn more. Our next news story is about none other than Mass Effect. Yes, we have been in a Mass Effect hole for the last week, and it's been wonderful and great, and hopefully you guys are enjoying your time with the game. We're going to be talking about Steimer's playthrough in the next segment, but a little glimmer of hope for Mass Effect 3 multiplayer fans, because according to an interview, it could return. Dun, dun, dun. Mass Effect Legendary Edition project director Mac Walters has confirmed that Mass Effect 3's multiplayer could be added to the collection in the future if the demand is great enough. In an interview with CNET, Walters said that he would never say no to Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, making a return after its omission in the Legendary Edition. I would never say no to that. We want to see what kind of reception the Legendary Edition gets and what the demand for multiplayer is, Walters said. And then we'll ask ourselves if we have the resources and time to bring it to the quality level that we and fans want. Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, if you never played it, was a co-op experience that allowed players to team up to take on the Reapers, Cerberus, Geth, and Collector forces. Progress in the mode also earned that player rewards in the Galaxy at War system that influences the outcome of Mass Effect 3's story, which they have rebalanced in the Legendary Edition since, of course, the multiplayer is missing.
And the phone thing.
Yes, the companion app.
Yeah, there was a companion app back when that launched.
Yes, there was. I had both because I wanted to go in at maximum galactic readiness.
I was like tapping that stuff all day on my phone, getting everybody ready.
Did you play a lot of MP3 or ME3's multiplayer?
I played some. I wouldn't say I played a lot, but I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. I played probably hundreds of hours of it. I think the thing that I really enjoyed about it was getting to play with different races.
Yeah, it's always fun because the part of Mass Effect that's really intriguing is the vast world that they've built, and so being able to team up with people and be like, I'm gonna be an Asari, I'm gonna be a Krogan. It was fun.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, there were some parts of it with like the loot box grind where you were trying to get specific characters that was a little egregious. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, I do.
But hopefully if they bring it back, they'll rework all of that, having learned their lesson about those kinds of transactions.
They got yelled at a few times. I don't think they'd bring it back like that.
They did, and it seems like they've definitely learned their lesson from some of their new projects. One of which we're going to talk about later.
We were making money. We wanted to make the money.
Turns out they're still making money.
They're
good.
But they were making money hand over fist with those things.
Yeah. Well, nothing compared to FIFA Ultimate packs, though. Man.
Yes. That was the OG.
Yeah, I feel like FIFA funds all of the rest of what EA does.
Just like the FIFA kingdom.
Pretty much. So this is a giant if. So if you guys are also fans of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, maybe tweet to BioWare.
But politely.
Politely, yes. Be respectful.
Don't be a jerk.
Voice your desire in a kind way. And hopefully, a lot of people are interested and that the Legendary Edition does well. And
for me, I'm like, I don't need you to bring that back. What I would like is for you to focus on the new stuff that's upcoming and then maybe build a really cool multiplayer into that.
So you're saying don't even bother with ME3 multiplayer.
Correct.
all hands on deck for Mass Effect 4.
Yes.
I mean, I can get behind this. I can get behind this. I would like to see that game before like 2025.
Yeah, like I don't want to be like 50 years old before I get to see the next Mass Effect, please.
Yeah. And at the time when he was still at the studio, Casey Hudson was very much like, that game is very far away.
Yes.
It's just like,
that's why I'm like, stop working on this. I get it. I appreciate it. I love what you did. Put a pin in it. Move forward.
well, if EA can just contract it out to like a port house.
They can outsource it, fine. But I
Yeah.
also, resources are resources, whether it's money you can dump into something else.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm with you.
I don't know why I whispered that. It was weird.
For dramatic effect.
Yeah. Little ASMR.
We don't have too many in case you missed it, but I wanted to bring this one up that broke last week, and it's not really like a big breaking story. I just thought it was interesting
broke.
considering that we've talked about Pokemon cards a couple of times and unwrapped.
Yeah, we unpacked.
Do you call them unboxings?
Not when they're just the packs.
Right? I don't
The
know.
unboxing would be, well, I don't know.
I don't know what you call
I'm not
it.
a card person enough to know.
Me neither. This is
card
where we would
person.
need Brittany's expertise. But
Miss you, Brittany.
Target will no longer sell Pokemon cards in store due to safety concerns.
Amazing. Amazing.
Apparently fights were breaking out in lines that people would queue in to wait to buy. And it's not just Pokemon cards, it's sports cards of all kinds. And
They're just like, y'all are acting a fool. You cannot keep it together. And you know what? We're not going to have it. So like go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And, like,
pretty much.
I kind of like really respect that from Target because they're making money from this. Or now
yeah.
they've lost money, but
well, they're
like,
still
going to
sell them online.
Yeah,
So they've
but
said
they're like you can't
can get them shipped to your house when they're in stock, but we will no longer carry them in store. Apparently, this was all really kind of kicked off after one of these altercations resulted in 4 people following a man to his car because there's been multiple reports of people getting like
oh my god
robbed in Target parking lots. And the guy who had the cards pulled a gun. Nobody was hurt, thankfully, but Target was like, you know what? If people are pulling guns
We've had
for
enough of
buying
this.
card packs from our store, you know what? We're just not going to sell
this
these
was
things
supposed to be
anymore.
a nice thing for children. What did you do?
Pretty much. This is why we can't have nice things.
I
Everybody.
know, my god.
So that's crazy that it's escalated to those kinds of levels. Like, it's just cards, y'all. It's just cards.
Yep.
Anywho, that's going to do it for our news segment for this week. When we come back, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. So you can guess what Steimer's been playing. But I've got 2 preview events, and it's going to be great. Stick with us, everybody. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. It is the second segment of the What's Good Games podcast, and this is where we talk about games we have playing and any preview events we have been to. And as Steimer said in the first segment, I've not technically been to a preview event. I just sat at my computer desk.
Yes. Yes, you have.
But I still had fun.
That's what counts.
Yeah. But before we get to the previews, let's talk about your time with the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So I talked about this in my first 10 hours last week with Alexa Ray, and now both you and I have finished Mass Effect 1.
Yes. I finished it last night. I feel like it was way faster for me.
Same.
I feel like because I think my game clock is possibly lightly under 20 hours.
Oh, see, I was clocking
Or around
close
20?
to I was clocking close to 30, but I also did a lot of like side shit that I probably didn't need to waste time doing.
I did a decent amount of side stuff. I just didn't do all of it. I like didn't do their collectibles. I was like, fuck that, I'm not doing the collectibles.
You're like those Turian tags, who cares?
I did start out scanning every planet and doing all of that, and then towards the middle I just stopped. I gave up. But I mean, I just kind of like sped run through this game, and it was just like it was a really nice experience for me because it's been so long since I played this game, and this is one of my favorite games ever. So having that experience again, and I mean, my brain forgot certain parts of it. I won't say which ones because in case you just have never played it, I don't want to spoil it for you. But there were definitely missions where I was like, oh my God, I forgot that happened. Like, that's crazy. I still think that 1 has the best arc in terms of story. But it definitely was still a buggy experience for me. And at times I was a little concerned. I was a little concerned last night that it was not going to let me finish the game because I was in the final boss battle and it crashed twice in a row. And I was just like, oh no. Oh, because it had never hard crashed on me. I got some really weird bugs where like the Mako went invisible.
Well, that's not good.
And then I got out of the Mako and then it teleported like ahead of me. And so I had to like run up to it in the snow. But I was like, what? Okay, whatever. That's fine. But then when it actually hard crashed, I was like, oh, I might be in trouble here. But finally, the third try it did go through. So I was like, okay, phew, we're fine. We're good. And I'm really trying for like a specific kind of play here where I wrote about this on Twitter. I had to make a very difficult decision in the game, which I will not, I guess, unless you talked about it last week. Did you talk about it?
Oh, the Kate and Ashley decision?
Yeah.
I did not.
Okay, well, whatever.
No.
There's a Kate and Ashley decision. If you've ever been on the internet, you've probably seen it.
I've openly said that I think Ashley sucks, and somebody felt the need to tweet to me and be like, I feel about Ashley how you feel about Liara. And I was like, well, you're just wrong then, because they are not equal.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Yeah, one is remarkably worse than the other. I do find Liara a little bit annoying in the first game, but because I've already played through the other ones and I know where she gets to, I was like, okay, I'm going to romance Liara this time because I've never romanced Liara. And I really want, like, whenever 12 years from now when Mass Effect 4 comes out, in my head canon, I would like to know that Liara in that game was paired with my shepherd. Like, that's kind of how I want it to be, even though I love Caden. I love him. But I loved him so much I had to kill him because I knew if he was there, I wouldn't be able to not romance him.
Yeah.
So I kind of was like, I'm so sorry. You gotta go. Cause like you can't be an option for me here. Yeah. So I had to make that tough decision, and that really sucked. Honestly, I felt awful. I felt awful, and then I felt stupid because I was like, this is a video game and these are not real people. They're not. And it doesn't matter ultimately. And yet I still felt guilty. Like, I couldn't even talk to him. There was times when I just had to stop going to talk to him on the ship.
Because you knew?
Because I knew.
That's how I felt about Ashley. I just didn't go over and engage her in conversation at all. I was like, bitch, I know what's going to happen to you. I also, like, don't care. I forgot how much I, like, really just detest her as a character.
Yeah, I really don't like her. I don't love that she's still alive and, like, in my game. But I'm hoping that later on I can, like, make her mad at me or something. I don't really know.
See her redemption arc in Mass Effect 3.
Or see her redemption arc, which I've never seen because she's literally never been in Mass Effect 3 for me.
You know, that's a good point. It was interesting. I tweeted this meme about playing Mass Effect, you know, for like the 100th time with the justification that there's still dialogue and romance options I haven't seen, but then I'm still just going to play the same way.
It's so hard to change because you're like, no, this is what it's like. It's comfort. That's how I definitely felt. So playing this game to me felt comforting, and it felt similar to how I feel when I watch a TV show that I already know. You know, if I watch Schitt's Creek again, or I watch Gilmore Girls again, I watch those, or Friends, like things that are familiar to you. Just makes me feel more comforted and more secure. So like I wasn't even really expecting that. I honestly wasn't even sure if I was going to play this. Because I was like, I've played this game 8 times. Do I need to play this game again? And then I started playing it, and I was like, oh,
had you.
This feels so
Got you
nice.
Back. It's like a warm cocoon of familiarity.
Precisely that. It really was. And so that was a really lovely experience for me, and I'm excited now to go into 2 and to go into 3 again. And
I'm so pumped for my ME2 playthrough. And you and I were talking about how there was like a surprising amount of things that we've forgotten about because it's been so many years since we've played these games. And I know some of you talked about playing them semi recently. I know a lot of people went back and replayed when Andromeda came out. But Andromeda was also like still like 4 years ago.
It was a bit, yeah.
5 years ago. I think it was out in 2016. I have to double check. But I didn't go back and replay those games, and because I'd played them so many times when they first came out, that I was just like really glad that it still felt a little fresh. I mean, obviously like the big story beats I remembered.
Right.
But some of the smaller side quest stuff with some of the squad mates, or even just some like characters that you just meet like on the Citadel or whatever, I was like, I totally forgot about this.
You're like, oh, hey.
I still haven't been able to scan all of the keepers.
Oh.
Which is like every time I've
did.
ever played Mass Effect, I've never gone through and scanned all the keepers.
Well, I don't do it every time, but I did it this time.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to...
I had to compare. I was like, okay, I got 16 of them on my own. There's 20 keepers, and then there was the last 4, and I was like, where are you?
Look up the walkthrough map.
And then I looked up, and I was like, oh, that's an area I definitely haven't scanned this number of keepers on. So I went there, and sure enough, there was 2, and then there was another one similarly where I was like, oh, I think I forgot that area, and I went back and over.
So it was interesting. There's a character, a random side character. So in the Citadel, there's all of these NPCs that you can interact with, or you can just ignore. You can keep running on by them and never have, any interaction with them.
Very optional.
And there's this guy who was asking me for money. And I was pretty late game when I went back to the Citadel because I didn't go back. In my first...
Oh, you were just like, meh.
No, I did everything on the Citadel, and then I was like out in deep space doing all of my side quests before, going to Vermeer and Ilos. And I went back and it was like I should go back and like turn some stuff in and buy some stuff for some vendors. And I ran into this guy who wanted like 20 credits, and I had like 800,000 credits.
Dude, I had
stupid.
4 million by the end. I
weren't buying anything.
I was just selling everything, and I bought the Spectre gear, which didn't put a dent in that amount of money. And I was just like, I need more things to buy.
Yeah, so I was with you. I didn't really buy much of anything either because I actually got surprisingly good drops. A lot of people, I tweeted the end photo of my Shepherd in her Colossus armor, which is one of the most difficult armor sets to get in the game because it's on like an RNG basis with only like 2 different vendors. And even then you're never guaranteed that it's going to show up in their stock. I actually got it as a drop, like in a chest on a mission.
Yeah.
And I'd never played with a Colossus armor before, and it was OP. It was awesome. But I digress. This character led me down a side path where for the first time ever, I got to speak to Shepard's mom on the comm system in the Normandy.
Oh, is it based on your backstory?
Yes. So obviously, if you guys have played, you know that you can choose from 3 different backstories for Commander Shepard.
Which one did you pick?
I picked Spacer.
Oh, okay. I don't think I ever picked that one.
Yeah, I usually pick the Earth one.
I picked that one this time.
But I picked Spacer, and so you can call your mom, whose name is Hannah Shepard.
Oh, okay.
And you have like a brief conversation with her about this guy because he spins this story about how like he knows you from when you were a kid, and that's why he's asking you for money. He's like, I just need a little help. And it's really kind of tragic because it like echoes what so many people I think of when you see veterans on the street, that are homeless and are asking for help. And it just like really tugged at my heartstrings a little bit because I was like, veterans shouldn't have to be on the streets. Right. And so I was like,
or in the back alley of the Citadel.
Right. So he was like, I just need 20 credits. And there's like a line where you can be like, you're just going to be a drunk. And I was like, no.
I'd be like, dude, you can have more than 20 credits.
I know. I was like,
do you need me to set you up with an apartment? Where do you live?
I know. I was like, dude, I have a ton of money. I don't know if your story is legit, but like, take it. Just take my money.
Let me go buy you some food.
I'm happy to help you out. And then there's an option later to like corroborate his story. And it was just like a really cool, fun little like experience that I had. So as I'm saying this, I'm like, are people going to be upset? And I'm like, no, this game is like 13 years old, right?
Ugh, that's what hurts more than anything else.
How old game is old?
Because like I played that game. That game came out when I left college. It looks like one of the first games I played in the industry when I joined, and I was like, oh, I was such a little baby.
Yeah, but it's so good though.
It
So
is.
you've been enjoying your time. Now you mentioned you ran into some bugs. I also
Yes.
ran into some bugs. We of course are both playing on Xbox Series
Yes.
X because of codes provided to us by EA. I have noticed the bugs are prevalent, but not game breaking.
Aside from the crashes at the very end, I would agree with that. But the crashes at the end are obviously game breaking because I was like very concerned I wouldn't be able to finish the game, which is the whole point, because you want to carry your save file over from one to the other.
Yes.
But I did manage to get through it. So again, I don't know how common or prevalent those crashes are towards the end of it, or if it was just me. I'm hoping it was just me, but yeah, all of the other bugs were goofy mostly. Or if they did impact gameplay, it resolved itself somehow. So like I did manage to completely turtle flip the Mako.
Yep.
Which is very hard to do because it really is designed to like bounce around and not do that. But once you get it completely belly up, it's kind of hard to get it to flip back over. And it took me like at least 5 minutes to just keep wiggling the sticks around and hoping and praying that somehow the game would flip it over, and it finally did. Because you also can't. I was like, oh, I can just fix this by exiting the Mako, and then it will maybe magically flip itself over. But no, if it's upside down, it won't let you exit the Mako. So I was like, damn it.
This is why you save all the time.
Dude, okay, so that's my main gripe with one of the features of the game is autosave. I think it's complete crap. Why do they even bother putting that there? Because it doesn't even autosave when you go into a building all the time.
No.
So I was like, it seems pretty logical that anytime there would be a cutscene or a loading thing that you should save.
It'd be an autosave point.
It should be an autosave point. And instead I learned the hard way because I was like, oh, autosave, whatever. I'm sure it will be at these points. It was not.
No.
Dear reader, it was not.
And it becomes much more important in Mass Effect 2 when the stakes for the conversations are much higher.
Yeah.
There are a couple like major decisions that happen in ME1, but the fate of a lot of your squad mates is at stake in ME2.
Yeah.
And
I'll be saving a lot more in ME2.
And the conversations, I think, are much more difficult to navigate, like the conversation options. Like if you don't play them just right and they don't go the right way, you never know, like, if your romance is going to be blown up or...
They're so overeager in 1. Like, in 1, I feel like you have to be the worst player in the world to not get a romance. Or you just have to be not interested in it, which is totally fine. But I remember people being like, oh, I couldn't get them to romance me. I'm like, what are you talking about? They literally throw themselves at you. You don't have to do anything, almost. I mean, you can't be completely mean to them. That's literally it.
Yeah.
And you just have to say like 2 words to them, and they're like, oh my god, are we dating? Are we dating? Because that was the thing with Caden. We had one conversation, and then the next time he's like, oh, I'm sorry, man, maybe I misread the situation. And I was like, bitch, we had a conversation.
I'm your boss.
We had one talk where I maybe lightly flirted. Like, there's no way you would be 100% sure if somebody was doing that.
No.
And I just thought it was so funny how willingly he threw himself at me, but I wasn't into it. It was fine.
Nice. Yeah. And I think like the flirting gets like hotter and heavier in 2 in a fun way.
There's also, there's a lot more butt shots with Miranda, although I haven't seen it. I do think they said they were going to edit them.
They did.
Yeah.
There was like a whole movement, and by movement I mean a very small group of disgruntled gamers out there who were like,
I don't know what porn is.
BioWare censored the game. No one asked for this. We all liked the butt shots. And I was like, ugh.
Speak, for yourself and not for the entirety of the world.
Just get over it. Like, if you want the butt shots, just play the original. It's there
or
for
look
you.
them up on YouTube. Or again, look up other things on the internet that are of your interest.
There's so much more to the game.
It exists. You don't need her butt in your face.
Yeah, also Miranda is a cool character that is more than just her great ass, okay?
True.
I mean, we can all agree that it is great, but she has other wonderful qualities.
The one time I played as male shepherd, I did romance Ashley in order to dump her for Miranda in Mass Effect 2. That was literally the only reason why I bothered with that playthrough.
I've never romanced Miranda. I attempted it on one of my original playthroughs, one of my 7 playthroughs of ME2, and she was just so hard to get that I was like, I cannot be bothered. I romanced Jacob the very first time, and then every other time I romanced Liara.
See, I never got a romance in ME2 because, except for that one, like I mentioned, because I was diehard, stay true to Caden, and spoiler alert, he's in the game, but not really in the game.
He's not
so
a
like
squad
if you
mate,
have if you have a romance with somebody from 1, they're not really that present in 2. You don't get a like quote unquote love scene with them. You get like a look at a picture.
It depends who you pick, though.
Either Ashley or Caden, you don't.
Those 2 characters, no. But like Garrus,
you can't romance in 1.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can romance him in 2, though.
I think it's 2. Yeah,
I know because he came on to me, and I was like, "Listen, Garrus, you're like my bestie. This is your friend zoned."
Yes, that's how I felt about him too. I was like, "You feel like just my best friend, and not like a romance option for me." But I do get how people might, swing the other way and be interested in that. But for me,
Brittany's into Garrus, isn't she?
I think so. No, I mean, she's also a Kagan girl, but yeah, I think she did romance Garrus. Although I think she did it accidentally. And then she was like, "Oh no."
She's like, "But wait, we're supposed to just be friends."
Oh no. Oh dear. Yeah, because the picture of whoever you have from 1 is in your captain's quarters. Commander's quarters, I don't know, whatever. And
the upgrade if
you have gone too far with another person, the picture will be face down. So that's how you know. Pro tip, which is
consequences,
rough chuckles,
romance consequences.
And I'm like, they don't even know. Why would it matter? They're not here.
Wow, Steimer, good to know. That's the kind of lover you are.
It's pretty clear you're not together. We were on a break, as Ross says. Why can I not have a fun fling while you're over there being mad at me?
That's a great question. I don't have.
This is why I'm not in a relationship.
I don't have an answer.
I want to bang all the aliens.
All right. So, any final thoughts on Mass Effect Legendary Edition?
It's definitely just a thing that I didn't realize how nice it would be to have, especially now. Again, like, life's been a little rough just in terms of like we are finally here in the United States getting out of perma quarantine, but I still feel like energies are fairly low and it's still been mentally really hard. So having this actually just felt really nice. It was like a mini vacay for my game life. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like Brittany says, it's like chicken soup for the soul.
It is,
but for games.
Yeah, it was very much my chicken soup. Delicious.
Yeah. Great. Excited to play more. But the next 2 games that I'm going to talk about are not Mass Effect, even though we could just take the rest of the show to talk about Mass Effect.
That's true, we could.
There are 2 games coming out. One is coming out relatively soon, and is technically out now when the podcast airs.
Oh, wow.
Knockout City. And the other one, Deathloop, is coming out this September. So I'm going to start with Knockout City.
Knockout City.
So for people who are not familiar with this game, Knockout City is a competitive online PvP dodgeball game that has been had an alpha, and now it was in beta, and now it's finally launching. And it's created by Velen Studios, which is a relatively new team, but they are comprised of a bunch of veteran developers. So you may have heard of Velen Studios because they created Mario Kart Live Tour, the little go-kart AR game that won some awards at the DICE Awards recently. And so this is kind of a shift for them. And during the question and answer section, EA invited me to a preview event to get a look at a presentation that the team at Velen put together, and then of course get some hands-on time with the game. So I was playing on Xbox Series S, but the game, like a lot of games right now, is not technically out for those platforms. It is the backwards compatible version for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. They didn't talk about... Oh, wait, no, I think they did talk about the new versions that are coming out later. But no, they just talked about the forward compatible versions, how they have native 4K. Because it is crossplay. So what's interesting about this game is that it's crossplay and cross progression across all platforms. It will have in-game chat as part of that crossplay, which is great, which not a lot of games do, or if they do it, they don't do it well. So we'll have to wait and see. I did not get to test the crossplay chat feature In fact, I don't know who the people I was playing with, what platforms they were playing on, because everything was masked for the event. So people were just showing up as like player and like
I walked up and I was like, "Are you playing with a bunch of bots?" Because it just looks like
it did look like I was playing with a bunch of bots, but no, I was not. So if you guys want to try it out, they're doing a 10-day free trial of the entire game. So all of the features in the full game that you would buy are unlocked from May 21st through May 30th, called the Knockout City Block Party. And so you can download it on your platform of choice, and all of the progress that you make in the block party will carry over when you purchase the game, which is excellent. So let me pull up some gameplay to show you guys what I'm kind of talking about the game here. If you guys haven't seen any of the kind of like overall look and feel of the game. So let me just pull up something here. This one looks good. Thank you for your patience, everybody, while I get this going. Wait, why did that happen?
I don't look big. Please, please, video, come back to us. Oh, rolling.
Here we go.
Rolling.
And here you go. You guys can check this out. So, this is my gameplay that I captured again on an Xbox Series S. And the game, of course, is dodgeball. They call it dodge brawling. The team is a relatively small team. When they originally started the development on this game 4 years ago, it was a team of only about a dozen people, and now it's only 50 people. Now, I know 50 people is clearly a lot more than a dozen, but when it comes to like a multiplayer game, 50 is a pretty small team still.
Yeah.
And they really have thought about a lot of things. Like I just came away really impressed from my time with the game. I think it looks really great, and it really played really excellently. So most of the game modes are 3v3. They do have a 1v1 game mode as well. And they are adding this option called crews, which is essentially like a clan system. You can have a crew of up to 32 players.
You said cruise. I thought you meant cruise, like a ship.
Oh, no. Crews as in
CREWS.
That is correct. Like I'm rolling with my crew. Literally rolling, because you can roll.
Rolling.
You can roll into a ball and your teammates can pick you up and throw you, which is it's kind of fun. And what I really liked about kind of my playtime is that they utilize what they call a flat gameplay curve, meaning there are no special classes and there are no like upgradable weapons or upgradable powers. Everybody is on an even playing field. This is purely a skill-based game. And really what that means is that you have to play to get good. You have to practice and learn the maps and, you know, hone your skills and kind of figure out strategies with your team in order to be successful. And it really is one of those games where you can have fun playing with randoms. Like I obviously was playing with a bunch of randoms during this preview event, but you really shine when you're able to communicate with your team as in any PvP team-based experience, right? And you don't really die, as you guys have seen if you're watching my gameplay at youtube.com/whatsgoodgames. You just respawn. It takes a couple seconds to respawn and then you're back in. The games are pretty short, and so the gameplay goes by fast. And what I think is really neat is that if you are playing with friends, like let's say I'm playing online with two randoms and I'm like, Steimer, like jump into my Knockout City game, let's play together. You can join me as a spectator and you can watch the rest of my game as a spectator inside the map until I finish, and then we can party up, which I think is a really kind of neat little feature.
That's nice, yeah.
Yeah, so the game is, they've got, let me see here how many maps that they're going to have at launch. So they're going to have 4 modes at launch: Team KO, which is what you guys are watching now, Face Off, Diamond Dash, and they're also going to have Party Team KO. So like the real difference with Party Team KO versus regular KO is just that there's a difference in the kind of dodgeballs that you're using. So I kept saying balls earlier, and Steimer was like, balls.
I'm 12.
So there's a couple of different kinds of balls at launch. So there's a moon ball, a bomb ball, a cage ball, a sniper ball, and a multi-ball. So I'm holding the multi-ball here. as the name says, it's just 3 balls instead of 1. It's like
it's like Cook Rogan.
Yeah, or it's like getting the 3 red shells in Mario Kart versus picking up the 1 red shell.
That is a better example.
So it's a really handy thing if you're fast fingered and you can kind of like get them off and hit your opponents right away. The cage ball is kind of neat. When you throw it at your opponent, if you successfully land it, it puts them in a little cage where they roll around as a ball, and you can either pick them up and like throw them off the edge of the world, or if a teammate gets to them first, their teammate can pick them up and throw them back at you as a weapon, which is interesting. The moon ball makes you jump a little bit higher, like you have moon gravity. The bomb ball is like a sticky bomb. And then the sniper ball is shaped like a football, which is interesting. So you can kind of have a little bit more precision when you're throwing it. But I like that it's a really like approachable game for players of multiple skill levels, but that there's a lot of growth for people who practice a lot and who, play with teams to be able to be really successful. I found that I was the most successful in this game when I would run around with my teammates and we would kind of like team up on other players, because you get a red box around the outside of your screen when you're being targeted to let you know, hey, somebody's targeting you. But if you're being targeted by multiple people, it doesn't really help. Yeah. You can, of course, catch the ball, like in real dodgeball, and throw it back. But that, of course, requires, some good timing and the ability to, have not multiple people targeting you at the same time.
Yes, can only catch so many balls.
Yeah, so I had a lot of fun, more fun than I thought when I was playing this. There's a couple of different maps that are going to utilize different things. So some of the maps at launch are Rooftop Rumble, Concussion Yard, Knockout Roundabout, and Back Alley Brawl, and this place called Galaxy Burger, which is kind of like a arcade type map, which is pretty neat. And so I think that there's a lot of room for potential here for this game to not only be really fun with casual players in the way that Fortnite is, but also on a competitive level. I would really love to see a game like this take off in an esports scene, because I think it's approachable for viewers to watch. Even Fortnite can sometimes be a little challenging for people to watch when you get really skilled builders or people who are scoping and things like that. Whereas this is like, it's just dodgeball. You're picking the ball up and you're throwing it at people and running around a map. It's
the best part about this game is the ragdoll physics when you die, because your body just pancakes in such a delightful way. It's really fun. Just die in this game. Just run around and die. You'll be amused.
Just run around and die. Yeah. Well, that's what I did a lot of. If you're watching, actually, I'm performing okay here in these couple of matches that we're watching. But what I really thought the game shined in addition to this kind of really fluid, fast gameplay, of course, like any game that has a competitive element where, you want to show off what you look like, is the cosmetics. So let me pull up some of the cosmetics options for you guys, because they have some really fun kind of customizable things that they have put together in this world of Knockout City. So let me show you here. So I have a couple things that I'm showcasing here.
Ooh, a unicorn dress. Very pretty.
Yeah, so this is in the shop. So they have, of course, an in-game currency system. I did not get to see what the premium credits are being priced at. You can buy emotes, you can buy outfits, you can buy face paint, hairstyles. The gliders are really cool in this game. So if you jump off of high places, you can open a glider and kind of sail around the map. But of course, I think everybody's going to immediately compare the gliders to the Fortnite gliders. But yes, the gliders that I've seen so far in the game were actually like way cooler looking than a lot of the Fortnite gliders I saw.
What about a taxi cab?
So this is my pimp car. So this is the car that you kind of roll up to the match in with your crew. And in your crew hideout, which is like a social hub space for people in your crew or your party that's playing, you can see these cosmetics. And if you're the crew leader, you can choose from the cosmetics and of anybody in your crew to customize your hideout space, which I think is really cool.
That is cool.
The way that they're handling the battle pass for Knockout City, I think, is also really interesting, where they've randomized the rewards, the order in which you earn them per player. But by the time you get to the end of the pass, you will have earned everything that's available. But I actually really like that it's randomized.
You like RNGesus?
I mean, not normally, but when it comes to battle passes, I do, because I'm one of those people that almost never gets to the end of the battle pass. I like just don't have the amount of hours in the day to usually like devote to unlocking every single level on the battle pass. And so I like that it's randomized, because sometimes some of the cooler stuff is usually at the end of the battle pass. And I'm like, it's not fair that I don't have all of these hours in my day to unlock all of these things. And so I like that it's randomized, but that if you put all the time in, you'll get everything anyway. And I know some people are like, but it's a point of pride that if you put all that time in, you get to the end of the battle pass. And I was like, not if you're buying it. Like, if I bought the battle pass, let me just have the stuff if I put the time in.
Let people enjoy things.
Yeah. So you can disagree with me if you want, but I like that they're doing it.
Not everybody needs to like everything, but it is an interesting spin on it.
Yeah. So overall, I think the game was really fun. I think it's great that EA is doing a 10-day free trial that allows people to test the game out and that you can carry your progression over. I think that there would potentially be a lot of ways for, people to complain about this, but I don't know. I think the game is got a lot of potential for success, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they're going to continue to support it. They laid out kind of what the season is going to look like, and I just walked away really impressed with the amount of thought that Velan Studios put into how they're launching this game. And I had asked them, I go, did you guys work with other developers under the EA umbrella, like Respawn, who does excellent work with Apex Legends, to kind of put this all together? Because sometimes we see multiplayer games, even if they have a beta, kind of stumble out the gate with like a plan to continue to support the game post-launch. And it seems like they've already thought about that, and that they are, looking towards the future and what they can add and things that they can, kind of keep the game going with. And so, yeah, check it out. It's a family-friendly game. All ages can play this. It's literally just fancy dodgeball.
Nice.
Yeah. The next game, not as all ages friendly.
Yeah, it's not as family friendly. It's in the title.
Yes, Deathloop. Steimer said it's all in the name, and she's right. Deathloop is the game I'm going to be talking about next. So big thank you to Bethesda for inviting me to check out this game in their preview event. This was a hands-off demo for me. So unlike Knockout City, which I got to get hands-on time with, this was a game where they showed us some B-roll, which I'm going to show you guys here. And I didn't get to play. So still no hands-on time with Deathloop for me. But we did get a nice, meaty look at gameplay, which you guys are seeing, of course, at youtube.com/whatsgoodgame. So just as a refresher, Deathloop is a game about time, but not on a timer, is the quote that I got from the team at Arcane. They are calling it a murder puzzle game, and it's obviously in first-person perspective if you've seen any of the gameplay, and they're also calling it a stylish first-person shooter where you play an assassin trapped in a time loop. So you have to take down all of your targets in a single loop across 4 times a day, 4 time periods, and 4 districts. So you're going to be jumping around these time periods and times of day to kind of figure out where your targets are when, to try to line up your 8 targets to take them down in a single day in order to kind of solve the loop. And you as a character are aware of the loop. Other characters in the game are aware of the loop. And it's really just about figuring out how can you approach your targets to make sure you're successful, and also finding where your targets are. That's part of the puzzle, is like figuring out like where in the world your target is and at what time of day are they going to appear in a position where you're actually going to be able to assassinate them. Because you might see them, but they might not be in a position where you can actually take them out. So I think it's really interesting what they're doing here, potentially really innovative, but there was just, I kind of left with a lot of questions that unfortunately didn't get answered. There was a brief Q&A session during the presentation that I went to, but I didn't get the chance to get any of my questions answered, which I was really disappointed in. So I know some of you had submitted questions. Mitch Krassen, you had submitted a question about the online option, which I'll get to in just a second. Didn't get an answer to that either, which was kind of a bummer. But we did get a healthy look at gameplay. And so the gameplay looks great. If you've played any of Arcane's games, obviously they're most known for the Dishonored, but they also have a series called Prey as well, and some other stuff. So I think the game looks super stylish. So it's set in kind of like this 60s time period, and it's got a lot of flair. And I really like that about the game. And it's funny. A lot of the dialogue options are super funny. And I think that you guys will definitely appreciate them and have a good time with the game. And it's definitely funnier than I anticipated and funnier than anything Arcane's done before. And I think we get so few comedy games, particularly games that have
this much murder in them?
This much murder. Yes, so much murder. That I think that it's going to be really kind of interesting to see people's reactions to how the narrative is going. So in the game, the idea is that you hunt down 8 visionaries from 4 time periods. You're going to pick up these things called artifacts along the way that will modify your weapon in a variety of crazy ways. And you can kind of take your time between each target to kind of figure out what your next move is, which I like, that it's not on like a Majora's Mask kind of timing situation. You will keep your weapons and abilities between loops, but not everything at first. So you're going to have to earn this currency in the game called Residium, and that will be used to permanently unlock your favorite upgrades between loops. So as you die and you lose some of your stuff, some of your upgrades you'll lose, but you can earn a way to permanently unlock them. So the progression system wasn't quite clear to me. I had asked for some clarification on how the progression system works, because they had said, hey, you keep your weapons and abilities, but I was like, but now you're telling me that I have to earn this currency to get the unlocks. And so I unfortunately don't have any more details for you guys about how that's going to work. Hopefully we'll find out from Arcane soon. So a little bit more about the story. You play as a character named Colt, and you're out to take out these visionaries, but one of the visionaries, a woman named Juliana, is out to stop Colt from breaking the loop because she likes the loop and it's an escape for her, and she doesn't want the loop broken, and she thinks what Cole's doing is dumb, and so she's trying to track him down and shoot him,
in the loop
while he's trying to kill all these other visionaries. So
because if you kill all 8, you end the loop. Is that the idea?
That's the idea.
Okay.
Yes. So you wake up on this island called Black Reef and are tasked with killing these 8 visionaries. And of course, Juliana is there to taunt you along the way. So one of the interesting things about the way that the loop works in Deathloop is that, she's kind of there in your ear, talking to you, taunting you, and you don't really know where she is. But at certain points, you will like run into her in the world, and then she has the opportunity to kill you. And this could either be done by an AI, which is, like a bot in the game, or there's a mode you can play where a human player can play as Juliana and come into your game and hunt you in your game.
No, thank you.
That's exactly what I said when they talked about this mode.
Thank you.
I was like, that is the last thing that I want. If I'm doing a murder puzzle game, I want to take my time solving the puzzle. The last thing I want is somebody griefing me in my own game.
I will take my chances with the bot. The bot's going to be way dumber than the human.
Yes. So I asked them, can you turn it off? And I never got an answer from the devs.
But it sounds like if you said there was an AI option, so it would sound like yes.
Yes,
We assume.
have to assume.
But it's not 100% confirmed is what you're saying.
Right.
Got it.
I have to assume that there's a way to turn it off. And I think that they have to have what's it called? An AI option for people who like can't matchmake or what have you, or playing at random times a day. Like, they can't just only make it a human player because that could really disrupt the flow of the game.
Yes.
But what I didn't know is if there's a way for you to make sure that nobody is in your game, because I just don't want another player in my game.
No, I think that's fair. I guess I'm curious because you said that she's one of the 8. Wait, so she is one of the 8 people you have to take out, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she is.
So I'm like, so when she appears, do you have the option to then take her out then? And if so, does she stop taunting you in the comms?
That's a great question. So somebody in the Q&A had asked, what happens, like, are you able to kill Juliana as a human controlled character, and then does she come back? Does she respawn? Is she like permanently dead?
Yeah.
And didn't get an answer or clarification
Great. Love it.
on that either.
It's a mystery, murder mystery.
But they do give players who play as Juliana like points for creatively killing you. And so you get like, there's these mission parameters that you need to do for more points that are like, oh, you need to kill the player by doing X, Y, and Z, or you need to do all of these things. And I was like, I don't want people motivated to come up with more creative ways to kill me by getting more points. This mode sounds terrible.
I guess I'm mostly, to me, when you're like, she can come and kill you or whatever, but she's one of the people you need to kill, I'm like, she's the first person I'm going after. Like, if I'm building this time loop thing, the first thing I would try and do is kill her and get her to stop taunting me, because I don't appreciate that. Yeah. And then 2, you feel much more relaxed because you can take everybody else out without worrying about somebody coming to stab you in the back.
So this is what I thought too. But then I was like, well, what if they've made the parameters of how you assassinate Juliana so that she has to be assassinated last? Because it's a puzzle, right? You have to figure out what order you have to assassinate the visionaries in. And I also asked the team at Arcane, which again, I did not get an answer to, is there more than one way to solve the loop? Or is there only a single way to solve the loop? Or is it randomly generated per player? Did not get an answer. Unclear. Because I was like, well, when you think about speedrunners, like if ideally they want like a single way to solve the loop and then you can speedrun it.
Figure out how to break it.
But
break the loop.
Then again, maybe you don't. Maybe you want to do something more unique where every playthrough can be different and that gives the game replayability.
Well, yeah, because otherwise you can literally, I mean, there would be a guide out, a few days later that's like, here's how you would technically solve the loop. And then if it was only one way, it would be,
well, you still have to execute.
I know,
right? It's like, we all know how to
figuring out
how
the plan
to beat
is the fun
Super
part.
Mario Brothers, but like you still have to execute.
You just jump to the side, go that way.
So what's really interesting is that like I said, I didn't get any answers on that, so I don't know what's going to happen with the loop. And hopefully some other people, there was plenty of people that saw the same preview event that I did, maybe got those questions answered. But I was not so lucky.
You were shafted.
Yes, I was. There's a lot of things you can pick up in your inventory. There's clearly like some craftable items that you have, and looks like there's going to be some interesting gameplay elements that they're going to be adding in. And of course they have said, since the game's not coming out until September, that they have more to announce, specifically on Juliana's mode called Protect the Cycle, quote, soon. So
yeah, no thank you. I don't need to know literally anything more about that, because I will not be partaking in it, and I would like to shut anybody else down from partaking in it.
Yeah,
I don't need, our lives are stressful enough. We don't need it. I don't need that in my life.
It's true. I'm with you. But overall, I'm glad that we finally got to see what the game looks like, because that was my biggest complaint so far, was that it really felt like there was a lot of really kind of fun cinematic trailers of Deathloop.
Yeah, but this game's been hidden for a while.
Yeah, but that we hadn't seen what the game looks like. And so we got to see some gameplay, and I think it looks like a lot of other Arcane stuff, but obviously a little bit more stylish, a little bit more pizzazz because of the era that it's set in.
It's a little bit brighter. Yeah, because Dishonored is very grungy.
Well, and Prey was like all in space, right? And I love the set design and the level design of artistic direction is maybe the phrase I'm looking for there of Prey. But I think that this is something that's really cool and it has a lot of potential. So I'm definitely intrigued to learn more and will absolutely be playing it. I just don't know if I'm going to end up finishing it, depending on how it goes.
That's fair.
So yeah, that's Deathloop. Hopefully you guys are intrigued. Let me know if you have any additional questions in the comments below. I may or may not be able to answer them. Because as I mentioned, I unfortunately didn't get most of my questions from the team answered, and hopefully will at a later date. But that is it for my 2 preview events for this week. And now, as predicted, I'm just going to go back to playing Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. Mass Effect hype train.
It's very exciting. And that's going to do it for our show for this week. Just a couple of quick things before we go, though. I'm very excited to welcome Sabriel Maston back to the show next week to talk to us about what she saw for Overwatch 2. That gameplay reveal just happened. And we will be doing our Patreon exclusive streams, the Happy Hour Q&A and the exclusive podcast on Saturday, May 29th. So mark your calendars for that. And we hope that you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye!